Welcome to the RVP Meet the Candidates for the South Central region. My name is Amy King, and I serve on the nominations committee. uh, this Meet the Candidates meeting is for those to that are running for office for RVP opportunity to answer preset questions for the attendees on the call. This is in preparation for Grand Chapter Congress. So with that, for the South Central, I'm going to list out all the RVP candidates. For Gateway, we have Joseph Schaefer. For Gulf South, we have two. We have Courtney Bradley and Bilal Morton. For Gulf Western, we have Seth Chavez. For Midwestern, we have Chris McDaniel. And for Tornado Alley, we have Yvonne Moore. Also on the call tonight is the current PVP for South Central, Sarah Casey. Right now, I only see one candidate on the call, Seth Chavez. So Seth, I will allow you to do a 1 to 2 minute introduction of yourself for the participants.
Well, yeah, I get to have the special spotlight since I'm the only one here. Well, I started my career back in fall 2013 when I crossed for Eta Psi at the University of Houston. Back then, our pledge classes had officer positions. I was alumni relations for my pledge class. Once I crossed, I had multiple officer positions. I was chancellor, senior vice president, president, and then vice president of pledge education. And then kind of once I graduated or left the collegiate chapter, kind of took a break, but I was still active with the Alumni Space City alumni chapter here in Houston. And then after COVID, that's when I started getting involved as a district director. First, I started as an assistant district director at Eta Psi, and then I was eventually promoted. And then from there, I transitioned to Eta Tau, which is McNeese University at Lake Charles. I was their full-time DD for the past 3 years. And on my professional career side, I run all of physical security / loss prevention for Mattress Firm since 2017. I pretty much handle more than 2,100 locations and 80 warehouse locations for their security services, their camera systems, keys, locks, alarm systems, and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm excited to be here, and I'm glad to volunteer for such a great fraternity.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And for the participants on the Zoom call, if you want to ask a question outside of the set questions that I will be asking, please drop your question in the chat. And if it's to, right now there's only one candidate, but if other candidates come on, if it's just to one candidate, specifically state which candidate you'd like to ask a question to. Or if you don't, we're going to assume that it is that question is meant for all candidates, and that question will be asked of all candidates. With that, we will get started. Seth, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. First question is, what is your why for wanting to be RVP?
So my why basically started when I was a collegiate. I was heavily involved with the alumni here in Houston, specifically when I was a pledge. Like I said, I was the alumni relations for my pledge class. So I hosted events for alumni to meet the pledges back then during that time. And I saw how much they were passionate about the chapter and about the fraternity. Even after they've already graduated, they've been removed from their university for so many years and whatnot, and they've mentored, they helped, gave me experiences that I will always remember throughout my collegiate career. And even after I graduated and became an alumni, they were still there, they were still helping me, they were still giving me words of wisdom. and I that left an everlasting impact for me. And so now that I am in the position where I kind of feel like the fraternity is kind of like having the changing of the guard, so to speak, in the sense of the older alumni are now paving the way for us younger alumni to now have these leadership positions or these leadership opportunities. I feel like it's kind of my way of giving back to the fraternity for so much that the fraternity has given me in the past. And I've, like I said, I've been volunteering as a district director for the past 5 years, and I love it. I love everything about it. I like hanging out with the collegiates and helping them shape their chapters, and I just want to continue doing that for the fraternity.
All right. Thank you. All right. So, second question is, since submitting your nomination, what efforts have you put forth to be prepared for day one in your role if you shall win?
So I've already been talking with chapters. I've met several of the chapters back in the leads at Dallas and at Baton Rouge. So I became acquainted with them, specifically like their officers, like the president, chapter ops and stuff like that. And currently, right now, I'm still engaging with their district directors and with the officers specifically, just to focus in on their history and their what they're currently doing, what they feel like they're not doing well, like their weaknesses and their strengths, and trying to game plan for the individual chapters because every chapter is different. Not, all the chapters are not going to be the same. And so, like, I'm working on a game plan that would be structured for them specifically individually, as well as if there's any like chapters that are having the same issues as other chapters, putting them in a kind of like a pool in the sense of, these are outline issues that all the chapters are having, and then I can basically try to formulate a plan that would help them in that sense. So as of right now, I'm kind of just doing all my homework in the sense of learning about each individual chapter, getting more acquainted, getting more face time with them. So therefore, if I were to win this position, I'm not coming in as like someone that they don't know about. I want them to already recognize me, know who I am, put a face to a name, so to speak, even though I'm not there physically in front of them, and have them still feel comfortable with my presence being around them and like getting to know them and start building that relationship.
All right. Perfect. Thank you. Next question is, how would you plan to set expectations, provide resources, and hold your team accountable?
So the first thing that I would try to emphasize and recommend for each chapter to do is basically have a set schedule or a calendar, so to speak, at the start of their semesters or at least at the start of the school year, and with tentative dates of their events and activities that they plan on doing, as well as like important collegiate school specific school holidays like homecoming, football games, because those tend to be obstacles that chapters face, throughout the semester when they're planning their events. And not only that, I always feel like if you have a structured schedule, if you know what's coming, ahead, you're able to plan ahead and be able to accomplish everything that we need to do for CMP in that sense. Um, I will also take it one step further with my district directors. I feel like there's three important events that I feel like that I will require them to be at, which is the pinning ceremony, the initiation, and then officer transitions, because I feel like those are the three main events that DD should be at, showing their face, being physically present there, because it shows that we're giving support to the chapters. We're showing that, hey, we're here for you guys. And I know like we can't be at all the chapter events, we can't be at all the pledge meetings or any other type of activities, because a lot of us, are already working full-time jobs. We have family obligations and so forth and so on. But I feel like those three events, at least three events each semester, we are still being there. And especially specifically for officer transitions, that's a very key moment or very key event, for each semester, because that's when we're training the new officers coming in for their new roles. And having a person that you can ask questions, you can have guidance, or even provide words of wisdom in that sense, to share their experiences with the collegiates, I feel goes a long way in helping shape that chapter to be better. Obviously, these district directors, that it's all volunteer. These are candidates that approach the RVP in the sense of, they want to dedicate their time, they want to give their time freely for the fraternity. And I feel like if they can't at least attend 3 events, then that's something that shows that we're lacking in. That I feel like that's something that we need to change. And so that's one way of I kind of like use that as a measuring tool to keep them accountable, to ensure that their DDs are still, ensuring that the chapters are staying on track, in participating and helping them, and showing support is the main thing, being a point of contact for the collegiate chapters is kind of how I want to plan it, for this first semester.
All right, thank you. That is all the set questions I have for the candidates tonight. Let's check in the chat and see if there's any questions in the chat. I do not see any questions in the chat. Since we have time, does anybody within the room want to ask a question live? I will entertain that opportunity now. All right, seeing none, if there's not any other questions, I do have just a couple of announcements. Just a reminder that RVP virtual training is set for 20 July. And if you would like to know more about all the candidates, I'm going to drop the candidate beacon link directly into the chat.
You said July 20th was for the RVP training, correct?
July 20th is the RVP training, yes. Alrighty, that is in the chat. If there's no other questions, comments, gripes, or complaints, we'll give you back the rest of your hour and night, and I hope you have, each and every one of you, hope you have a great rest of your evening and the week ahead. Thank you.